Hi everyone, hope you're doing fine. I'm Andrew Williams, the founder of Remote Tribe. We are a digital nomad community and blog, and we're helping people going remotely, finding jobs remotely, and connecting with other nomads and the cool things we do. And I've got here today with me, I've got Robin from VioMati. He's got a really interesting concepts for entrepreneurs, nomads, and remote workers, and not only them, like everyone who wants to develop on a personal level. So, Robin, please introduce yourself and tell us in about 20 seconds what you do.
Okay, so hello everyone. First of all, thanks for having me, Andrew. It's always nice chatting with you. So I am the co-founder of the Viomatico, and we host business retreats in destinations like Madeira and Morocco, bringing together small groups of founders and freelancers to combine learning and talking about business, a lot of business strategy that goes on in there with an active itinerary, action-packed itineraries.
We're going to unpack what the mastermind is and what you guys do exactly. But just let me ask you first, how did you end up with this concept and what made you, create this business and help people develop?
Yeah, so I've been coaching, so fitness, lifestyle, all those things. I've been coaching for 9 years already. And then my partner has been working in tourism for the same amount of time. And we've been together for quite a while, and we were always saying like we should really start a business together. We want to do something together, but we were looking for a concept that we were both as passionate about. So it wouldn't become a thing where one works for the other, even though you're partners. I think something we can talk about as well. But having a business with your partner, as well. Yeah. There's challenges to founding a business with your partner, right? But we came down to the idea of like, hey, so I have all this experience in coaching and managing groups and getting to the point of things or to the core of things, and then my partner has so much experience with tourism and logistics and partnerships and how to get the best possible hospitality experiences for guests. So we're like, okay, we're both really passionate about business and becoming better at that, learning more about that, and just hanging out with other founders and freelancers. So we're like, okay, what if we just get together groups of founders and freelancers? We come with a concept where they learn from each other, and we make sure that we curate and facilitate the right spaces to have magic happen, to have them exchange all their knowledge, and that would be a really cool business.
That's interesting. It's more like a win-win-win for everyone. I mean, you guys are having a business, you're connecting people, you're facilitating, and also you're learning from them. So it's like a great concept. But let's just go back to the core of it, Robin. So what is a mastermind, or whatever you call this? I think masterminds are a relatively new concept, which are very useful, especially for people who are very global and they want to do global businesses and they want to work with other people globally. So you guys definitely enable. It is a place where they can meet future business partners or solve different problems. But let's understand what's a mastermind group.
Yeah, so first of all, on our retreats, we have different concepts. Masterminds is one of them. We also do skill sharing lectures where the participants become the speakers, basically. Mm-hmm. And like it says, we have the skill sharing, and we do some business strategy workshop as well to have that whole balance. But the masterminds to me is definitely not the most interesting, but it's super interesting to see, because this is where all of the knowledge flows, right? So a mastermind, like you said, it's getting popularized. I wouldn't say it's very new. I think more in nomad spaces and stuff, people are now getting to know it because they see the value of it. So how we do masterminds, let's say like that, is we have participants join our trips with a specific set of challenges, right? Everyone that owns a business has
and I guess you curate your guests, right?
We curate our guests exactly for this. So before signing up, we make sure that we know what their challenges are, or what the things are that they would like to improve on, not necessarily already being big challenges, but and based on the groups that we already have, we try to get them with the right people, If you have some knowledge on something that someone else is struggling with and the other way around, I think there's a lot of beauty in that.
So it's more like a knowledge exchange, but what happens inside once you get in the program? Like what kind of activity, like business activities? We're going to talk about other activities, but what should people expect from a mastermind in that perspective?
So in the mastermind, so like I said, you come up with a specific challenge that you have, and we get a hot seat. So one person at a time, you come in front of the group. We really believe in teaching and learning. So the first question that we ask is, what's something that you've been working on, that an old challenge that you might have overcome quite recently? So we start by having the person in the hot seat share something that's going really well, or a breakthrough that they had, and some practical tips on how they did that, as to share something before being able to receive. This is usually quite quick. And then the second part, I think the most impactful question, for them at least, is, so this is something that I'm currently struggling with or would love to discuss with the rest of the group. And then the exchange happens. So how we go about doing the masterminds is we have about 20 minutes per participant, where in the first half, so the first 10 minutes, the other participants are only allowed to ask questions. So it's very natural if someone says, I struggle with this, and maybe you have a lot of experience on it, that you'd immediately want to hop in giving advice, right? Yeah. Something a lot of people want to do. So we actually put a limit on, you have to ask for 10 minutes to that person. A lot of times they already come up with answers, or they come up with a deeper version of the thing they're struggling with. Because we say we're struggling with this, but then if people ask the right questions, you might come up with, oh, it's actually not this thing that I thought it was, but something on maybe a deeper layer or something else. And then only after 10 minutes, people can start giving more advice rather than just asking questions. So
it's basically like a more advanced networking event where you actually get practical advice. It's more personal. Am I missing something here? Is there anything else to it?
How do you mean, sorry?
So is there anything more to it? So from what I understand, the masterminds are basically like a next level of networking. So it's a smaller group, you get real solutions from other people, other business entrepreneurs, other specialists, whatever. And then you also connect with those people. So it's kind of a networking event on steroids, if you ask me. It's like next level networking, right?
Exactly. And you know what the difference is as well with, let's say, a regular networking event and a retreat like this, where you have those masterminds and network and stuff, is on a networking event, it's volume, right?
Yeah.
You have usually a lot more people
selling tickets and
change
whatever.
contacts, have a good conversation, and move on. That's how most network events happen. So the reason why we have 10 participants maximum per trip, and that we don't do them over one day or a weekend, but like over the course of a week or more, is relationships don't get built on the networking part. That's where you just exchange information. The relationship happens outside of the workshops. It happens when you share food together. It happens when you create memories together. You go on activities and you do some more leisurely things, and some different ways that we help people connect as well on a level.
That's definitely something very important. I really want to talk about that, because the networking event usually happens in a big room, like a big event, and you barely can connect with people because it's not maybe the right environment, or it's not you don't have those experiences. So let's talk a bit more about what kind of experiences people can expect if they're taking a business, a mastermind business course or experience with you or with someone else. And what can they expect in terms of activities, fun, bonding, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, so the thing is, if you really want a group to share the most amount of value possible, it helps to help them become friends, right? Because if I'm on a network event, like we said earlier, and I meet you in the first 5 minutes, we might geek on some topics and we might go deep, but you're always going to have a little bit of a barrier, because I don't know who you are. Maybe you want to steal my ideas or whatever, limiting beliefs that a lot of people have.
It's normal. Not everyone is an extrovert, and there's some barriers for sure.
Exactly. Whereas when you put people together 24/7 in a closed group as well, in a safe space, in a place that doesn't feel disconnected. It's not a separate hotel room, and it's like we work with boutique places, we work with a bit more luxury, but we make sure there's always this homey vibe to it, you know, like people, if they feel safe, if they feel at home, and if they feel connected with the rest of the group, they're going to open up a lot more. So our job is, outside of the workshops, get people to connect as much as possible, and this starts already before the retreats by curating them, getting the right personalities and the right people to exchange the value. And then because they connect so well outside of the business side of things, the workshops, they're going to be able to share a lot more and a lot more open on all of the business topics.
So that's actually a really important part of the mastermind, or whatever trips, business trips you guys organized, and this type of trips where, the environment is extremely important, because it can unleash a lot of details about the clients, or you can be in a really creative environment like a nice riad or on the beach. Exactly. And you can have discussions there. So by the way, is that a full-time? So are the guests busy all the time? Do you keep them busy all the time, or can they work a few hours a day? Do you allow them to work if they have like a full-time job, or you have? I guess they have to work as well, no?
Yeah, so we do plan in daily time. We always tell people, come with as little work as possible.
Yeah.
But look, it's founders and freelancers. Even us, we have to do some work in between the work of facilitating the retreat. And if you work with people that are in business, you can't tell them like for 8 or 10 days, like not work at all. So there is time for that. But we do tell people like, look, you come to these trips to work on your business, not in your business. So try to bring the minimum amount of work and all of the time that's still there for you to, one second, there we go, for you to be able to go work. Could also be time that you implement some of the things that you're already learning on that trip.
Yeah, correct.
The biggest changes happen with people that are able to just disconnect as much as possible from the day-to-day operations and really get involved in the group and implement as much as they can.
So you really want to break the routine, but you still want to keep the business part on, but a different type of business, growing, networking, and so on and so forth. Okay.
Exactly. So it's not a co-living where you come for a full month and you work normally and then you hang out in the weekends or in the evenings. It's a bit more of an intensive. It's a week, but it has to be balanced. Look, something that I've noticed, and this is why we created the way that we do. As a coach, I followed tons of seminars and workshops and stuff like that, and a lot of times it's so packed with information that you have a full notebook of lessons, but then you're so overwhelmed that there's no implementation. Like, sure, we could get the itinerary from like 8 a.m. until like 8 p.m. and just get them information, but we really wanted to create something where there's room for learning, but we want people to leave with a plan that they can actually implement the things that they did.
And how much do you say is learning? How much do you say it's learning in a day, and then fun for the rest? How would you divide that? How is it more about learning and then a bit of fun at the end of the day, or vice versa?
Well, the learning's fun, that's for sure. So I would say it's 100% fun. But if you want to combine like leisure and learning, I would say it's a 60-40 or 70-30.
So quite balanced.
There's definitely, So there's definitely a lot of time spent in these masterminds and skill sharing sessions and stuff like that. But we balance out every day itself as well. So for example, we never go over 4 hours of mastermind because we want people to be acute. We want people to be there. And you know how it is if you're like 6 hours in keynotes and lectures, and the last 2 hours you just have no clue what was said. So
you're fried.
So our goal is just to keep people as in the moment as possible. I think that's the right words, because like I said, it's better to give them a bit less but have them implement those things and be actually able to leave with a plan than to just overwhelm people with information. And that's that.
That makes sense. And Robin, so we discussed about networking, which obviously is really important, and you guys curate the guests, and obviously you make sure that the right match, you've got the right match for the guests. Because is there a theme you choose, or how do you start even? Like, how do you pick people? I guess obviously you have to fill in a group, but then is there a theme for that specific group, or you just try to blend in everyone that you think would match very well together?
Yeah, so I think the only differences in themes would probably be the destinations. If you look, for example, this year we got Marrakesh, we got Madeira, we got Tahazut, and then we have a road trip. Obviously, the itinerary, the leisure activities are going to look different than
Sure.
Tahazut, which is in Morocco by the ocean. It's a bit more,
Laid
it's
back.
beach vibes,
It's
it's
beach
laid
vibes,
back.
yeah, yeah.
And our trip in Marrakesh, which is the city, it's creativity, it's like people are hustling, it's the city of craftsmanship.
Yeah.
And Madeira, it's you have this amazing bubble of digital nomads that's amazing to experience. And on the other side, you have all of the nature. So there's a lot of hiking, there's a lot of nature activities that go on here. So the difference in theme is the destinations. This is something we notice as well. It becomes a collectible almost. We have quite a big retention rate of clients that just book retreats in different destinations each time, because the concept might stay the same, but it's always a different group. And if it's a different destination as well, you get a completely different experience as well.
So I'm just curious, what kind of people do you have from which industries and what kind of roles? And if you have also employees or just entrepreneurs and freelancers, like what kind of crowd do you attract?
Yeah, so we focus on founders and freelancers. So it's all entrepreneurs that join, but we try to keep it as varied as possible. So we have people that come from tech that have exited multiple companies, but we also have, let's say, graphic designer freelancers or fitness coaches. We've had people with construction companies, someone with a wine brand, people consulting hospitals, and so it's very varied, because in the end, I think there's a lot of value with discussing meta business topics with people from a different industry, because every industry has the same issues but look at it through a different lens. So if you hang out with a bunch of sales guys and you discuss sales and how to overcome certain things within that thing, you always have the specifics, but when you talk a bit more meta, usually they look at things through the same lens. Whereas if you have someone from a tech startup discussing business with someone from a construction company, there's massive differences in how things happen, but there's a lot of meta stuff, they
When you
have
make it more abstract, the
so there's a
principles
lot
apply.
of things that's happening left and right that way. And then how we like to differentiate our founders and freelancers, because who's a founder and freelancers? It's everyone.
It's hard to tell.
It can be someone that's super active, and can be someone that doesn't even walk to the fridge. So we work with founders and freelancers that are definitely active. So the itinerary, the leisure time, we actually have gym workouts. We have hikes, we go canyoning. If we're by the ocean, we might do a surfing session, we might go climbing. So we notice that in the retreat space, and this is also like a stereotype, when you say retreat to people, everyone goes, oh, so spirituality and yoga, right? And I think it's amazing, it's very needed, but we were like, okay, but how can we differentiate a little bit from that? We noticed that a lot of people that want to join a business retreat might not want to do a yoga session in the morning, but they prefer to keep their gym routine, or maybe rather go for a run or something that's a little bit more sports than the mindfulness.
Just to disconnect from business, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. So it doesn't mean that you can't be mindful to join one of our retreats, or that you have to be an athlete to join one of our retreats. But it's definitely entrepreneurs that love, that charge through activities, that charge through an active lifestyle, and want to have that as well on the retreat.
Yeah, sounds great. I know a few people like that, including myself. So I think we've got plenty of choices there. It's great to know these things are happening, and then it's great to have. Honestly, sometimes it's great to have a schedule made for you, because sometimes I get so absorbed into my work sometimes that I forget to disconnect. Either go to the gym or do a surfing session. I'm just too focused on what I do, and maybe it's good that there are companies like yours doing this kind of strict schedule, more or less, where you know exactly in like 10 days you're going to get a lot of value, and you just go for it. Yeah. So what
Yeah.
what was Robin? Let me ask you, what was the best, like, just give me one moment when you had like someone from the group had like a really good breakthrough with their business, or they got some really really valuable insights. Obviously, without giving names or anything like that,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
maybe you can just mention the industry, or yeah, what was the use case there?
Um, I have so many examples. So I can give you one example. One of our last retreats, we had someone with a brick and mortar business,
Mm-hmm.
and she had been grinding through her business for longer than what was fulfilling her. And she had a lot of ideas to do different things, but didn't have the space basically to action on those ideas. So she was going through the mud a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the retreat, she actually realized that she just wanted to exit. So she was able to sell her business, which wasn't even an idea before joining the retreat. So that was very fulfilling to see that she was like, oh, actually, now I realize that I'm actually done. I did everything that I wanted to do with this project, and it's better to now just sell. And now she's already on the next project. So the things that were in her head that were frustrating her, that she didn't get to do them, she now is able to because she got to exit.
Mm-hmm.
Another example is we already have 3 people that moved their countries joining one of our retreats. It's not so business related, but I would say it's quite a life changing experience, when someone joins one of your retreats and they're so overwhelmed with the creativity and the space and everything that happens on these trips that they decide to move countries completely, to be more surrounded with a space like that. We had people starting businesses together already. So a lot of people that become clients and partners, and so those are like the more little things. But to me, the 2 examples is having someone like realize that she was actually done with what she wanted to do, because a lot of people, it's counterintuitive, right? You come to work on your business and then you realize that you just want to quit it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
It's a bit ironic.
sometimes that's one of the best things to do. Once you've built something and you got everything out of it that you wanted to get out of it, sometimes it's just best to let go and move on to the next thing.
Yeah, that's why they say it's just
And
business in a lot of
yeah,
cases.
and
It is
then
what
for
it is.
people that are sometimes a bit more, because this is what we notice with the people that moved countries, is they're a bit stuck in the mud because they're in an environment where there's a lot going on, but they're not in the right environment for
Yeah,
them
exactly.
to be creative. And just by moving countries, their businesses expand
Explode.
by so much because they just changed environment, and now they're surrounded with the right people, the right environment, the right things for them to be able to grow as well. So yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
I noticed that
really
as well
nice.
in my experience. Honestly, sometimes when I change environments, either I went to a bigger city or a smaller city, in a completely different country, even outside Europe, I really got a bit more creative, and I was able to exit out of my head and understand things a bit differently.
Yeah.
It sounds a bit abstract, but there is that thing really helped me to kind of see things in a different perspective. So I think changes are really good sometimes, not all the times, but I think it can help at least give it a try and see if you change your environment, if you can be a bit more creative, or if you can take a break so you can think about things. That's really, really important. Sometimes we're so stuck in our grind that we forget or we just can't see other
Yeah.
solutions, other ways.
And that's the thing as well, is a lot of our habits are situational, right?
Yeah,
So you might think like, no, this is how my habits are and my routine is, and but one of the interesting things with moving places, and then everyone has a tolerance in how much they want to move, and some people every couple of weeks, some people every couple of years, some people just once. But moving to a new place almost allows you to reshape your identity a little
yeah,
bit,
we know
because
very
you
well.
because you get to create a completely different routine that would be not impossible but way harder to do in a place where you are already set in stone, to say.
Yeah.
So
You can
so
fine
there's
tune
a lot of
your
use.
personality somehow, your
Yeah.
entire lifestyle kind of, and then just add a bit more to whatever you are already.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. You get a different it's like we change personalities with every language we speak, right? Like your humor is slightly different and stuff. It's the
true.
same with moving to a new environment. You get to be a different version of yourself, or you get to develop a version of yourself that was harder to do in the old place.
Cool, Robin. Yeah, thanks a lot. Some really good insights there. So let's talk a bit more about Viomatico. So tell me, why are you guys so different than other retreats, business retreats that are around the world? Because there are quite a few. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, so a couple of things. So at the Viomatico, we, like I said, the meta of getting different industries. So we're not focused on just SaaS, or we're not focused on just people with brick and mortars, or only digital nomads or remote workers. Or for us, we try to get as many different people together, because like I said earlier, someone with a construction company that has a conversation with a digital nomad or a tech startup founder or something like that, it's conversations that a lot of people didn't have yet, or didn't get the chance to connect with yet. So it's very valuable. Then the active part. So for us, like I said, like we haven't found many retreats that actually combine the business with a more performance active itinerary outside of that. So like I said, like actually gym sessions and more adventurous activities, and depending on the destination, of course. I think that's something that we haven't found much yet. Usually it's or like a fitness retreat, which we don't want to be,
Yeah.
or it's a business retreat where it's just that, or it's a yoga and mindfulness retreat. But the combination of really business with that active lifestyle, something that we really try to focus on.
It's true, yeah, it's true. Like if you look around, a lot of these retreats offer only one type of activity, and that's it. So you basically go there and you do a full immersion in that, whatever that offers. But you guys seem to have found the sweet spot between business and pleasure somehow, or pleasure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I think as well as the fact that my partner has been working for so long already in tourism, and I've been working as a coach for so long already. I think we are just 2 years in with the Viomatico, but it was quite a fluent transition from us, because this is what we've been doing for years in just slightly different ways.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people that host retreats, they might be very experienced in business or in the workshops that they host or stuff like that. But then the way that you do your logistics and connecting the people around that is a skill by itself that you might have to learn. And if you do 1 or 2 retreats per year, it might take a long time to develop those skills, of course.
That's true. It's great you guys have experience. It's definitely a plus against other people who do the retreats. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
And Robin, so how can people then get onto these business masterminds or retreats? How is the selection process? How rigorous is that? What should they expect at the interview? I guess there's some interviews that go on. So how does that work?
Yeah, so everyone gets curated. So every time that someone wants to sign up, we organize a call. They can book first, of course, and then they get a call later. And for us, it's basically an interview to see if they're a match, because we want to make sure, of course, that whatever expectations they have, that we can meet, and that they actually have a value to bring to the
Yeah.
group as well.
Yeah, so I guess you discuss about their background, about their business background, about what they
Exactly.
do.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then for us, the next part is finding out like where their challenges are, or what their intention is of booking one of these trips, so that we can, next to the destinations, also advise them a bit better on, look, we have these personalities that are already joining this retreat, and we have that person joining that retreat. So sure, if someone really wants to come to Madeira, they can, definitely, because like I said, all of our retreats are as varied as possible. But if some people, and many of them actually do, come with a very specific problem, like I really need to learn more about this specific part in marketing, and we know that we have someone that's specialized in that already joining our retreat in November, then obviously we're going to advise them to join that retreat instead of one where maybe somewhere where they don't have that specific skill set. Yeah.
And are there cases where you have to say no because that person is not fit, or you don't have a place for them in the next cohort,
Yeah.
that you just put them on pause? Yeah.
So yeah, so we did reject a couple people already. But it's always like expectations. If someone wants to have a more co-living experience where they can work 6 to 8 hours a day and then be with the group for a couple of hours, then definitely that's not the case with us. Like if you're gonna work 8 hours a day, you're gonna
Yeah,
get
what's
very
the
little
point? I mean, you're
experience.
doing them a favor as well because they're wasting
Exactly.
money, literally. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always what it is, right? Curating is not just it's making sure that the others get what they need, but like why would I sell something to someone that's not going to get the value that I promise?
Correct.
That looks bad on me, that's bad for them. If you organize a conference for 300 people and a couple of people get a wrong expectation. Well, you can't curate like 300 people separately, but if it's 10 people, I always say it takes 10 people to get the right group. It only takes one person that had a different expectation or that doesn't get what they were looking for to ruin the dynamics. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. And honestly, I've been curated for myself for co-living spaces, for co-working spaces. So is nothing really personal. And honestly, I think it's just a fair exchange and just a fair just a fair way to see if people can connect. And absolutely, there's so many options these days from co-living spaces to retreats that absolutely you'll find something that you love. Absolutely. So there's no need
exactly, yeah.
to take it personally. Yeah. And Robin, in terms of the businesses activities that happen there, what do you guys look for? Is it scaling? Is it how to start up a business? Like what kind of business topics do you talk about? Is it all of them?
Yeah, so it's many of them. That's definitely it. So I think a big aspect of what happens on these retreats, quite naturally, is there's a lot of strategy talk. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's working on your business, not in your business. So a lot of strategy sessions happen,
And that's
and discussions
valid for
happen.
both offline and online businesses. Yeah, brick and
Yeah,
mortar and online. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And then we do curate. So, for example, we have one trip now in March, which is sold out. I was going to say unfortunately, but not for us. So it's sold out. Where we did curate that everyone for that specific trip was in the stage of scaling. So most of our trips are open. We have people that have started out that are between 1 and 3 years, let's say, within their business, and they're on the way of figuring things out or pivoting or whatever. And then we have people together there that are looking at scaling, exiting, automating, all of those things. Now, this is a test as well. We had one retreat where it's only, or it starts at you want to be scaling. So it's not how am I gonna monetize, get my first couple of clients.
Yeah,
Like
interesting.
it's really based on scaling.
So you're
But
bringing people who already are somehow profitable, but they need to scale to take it to the next level.
yeah, exactly. So, but
Fantastic.
most of our trips, so all the other trips now is the combination of that, because that's something that we see as well, which is really valuable. Is sometimes people that are already at a further stage, they and know more about business. Whatever you see and do a lot, we sometimes lose the spark a little bit in it. We forget how excited it used to make us and all of that. And then you get someone that's starting out and maybe they don't have the same experience, but they have that fire in them. They have that enthusiasm, and sometimes I wouldn't say naivety, but lack of experience in some topics creates creativity as well that the more experienced people not see anymore because
Yeah,
they're so used and no, this is the
in
way.
their ways. Yeah.
There's a lot of value for people that have a lot of experience to get some of the creativity and passion with the